Welcome back, Floater Gang. We're gonna be doing way too early over/under season predictions. Deacon will be ranking the teams as well. So Deacon, you want to start us off with your first seed and what their over/under is?
We're doing East first. So my first seed out East is going to be the Celtics. That's no surprise. Their over/under right now is 58.5. Personally, I'm going under, but that doesn't stop me from taking the first seed. Porzingis is going to be out for the first couple months of the season, possibly more, because Porzingis injuries just linger with him.
I didn't consider that. I forgot about that.
Oh well. I mean, to be fair, they were like 22-4 without Porzingis last year.
I tried not considering anything because it's still like August, so anything can still happen. And I mean, we've seen our previous predictions, so
Yeah, that's true.
But that's just me.
But Celtics still a good team. East is also stronger, so I don't think they'll win 60 this year.
Lauren, so what's your over/under on that?
I'm going over. I didn't consider Chris that, but even with that, I mean, Al Horford is like arguably the best role player in the league still as an ancient dinosaur.
I'd say it's Derek White, but he's also on that team.
Derek White is like above role player at this point. I don't know. He's like a superstar role player. So yeah, you're fair. Either way, Al Horford is there. At least as a big man, he's probably the greatest big man role player in the league. And like he's like an all-time role player. Like let's be honest here. And so I'm gonna go over. They won 64 games last season, so they need to just win. They still win 5 less games than last year, and they're dominant, obviously, and they've just been good in general, and everybody's great. So I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm going over, but I think to your point, I do think it'll be close. I do think it'll be around 59-60. I do think it'll be really close over, but I do still think that it will be over that 48.5 line. I mean, they were dominant last year, so
58.5. They said 48.
no, did I?
It should be a 60-win team, but
I think it'll be 59-61. Yeah,
They have 60-win talent. I'm just not too sure.
that's fair.
Plus, I feel like usually after you win a championship, sometimes you start slow the next year. But we'll see.
over under.
I would probably say under. I have a feeling there might be a little more injuries this time.
That's true.
A lot more people pay attention to Derek White and Jaylen Brown a lot more since he won both Finals MVP and then Eastern Conference MVP. And we'll see what Tatum kind of feels about all that. Now, kind of not being the best player on the team may affect a couple things, so I'm gonna go under.
Yeah. The one thing that I like, I mean, sometimes after you win a championship, there's just like people are like, oh, wanting a bigger role or wanting a bigger payday. So maybe this whole Tatum Jalen thing comes to like a
Collapse a little bit.
collapse. But we've been kind of
Thinking
praying
that
on
for
their
the last
downfall
5
for
years.
5 years. I'm not gonna do that now.
Yeah.
The next team I have is the Knicks.
Ooh.
It's a 2 seed. Their over/under is 53.5. I think they're going to absolutely crush it. I got them winning 57 games. Tied with the Celtics, but the roster is awesome. They don't have. I mean, OG is probably the only injury-prone guy on that team per se, and they have so much depth to replace.
Your replacement for him is Mikal Bridges, who plays every single game.
Yeah, and Julius Randle, as much as I am not a fan of him, he's still a really good regular season player.
Oh yeah.
And they're probably the deepest team in the East, maybe the league even. Tom Thibodeau is a great coach. Yeah, I'm fine on the Knicks.
Yeah, no, I picked the over on that too. They won 50 last year. They got better. They got deeper. And obviously no one's to say they're not going to be injury riddled this year, but they were injury riddled last year with a not as great team.
Mitchell Robinson's also very injury prone.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's why this is one of the 2 teams I actually don't have an over/under yet for, because I wasn't certain. They're so deep, except for at center,
Yeah.
and where they have,
But they
Mitchell
have
Robinson.
McCourty at backup.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly. But I'm gonna go over
Is
2.
he still overseas? Oh, he came over? I thought so. Okay.
I'm gonna go over 2. Because they are so deep and because they are so good, and plus, just because they are the Knicks, they have Thibs, and he's just gonna kind of play half the guys to death anyway to get regular season wins, and Josh Hart will get rebounds. So I'm gonna have to go over.
What about you?
Who Who's their backup center?
Well, they
Hook Porty.
No one
no
knows.
Precious. They recently
That's true. They do have Precious.
Or Jericho Sims,
Oh yeah, Jericho Sims.
who a lot of people were high on.
Yeah, I like
because he's
Precious.
athletic.
Yeah.
I think over. I don't really think it's a question that they are the most depth team there is. I mean, they have 7 stars
Right.
on their team. I mean, if you don't go above that, it's very disappointing.
Yeah.
Says a lot about the Knicks if they don't go above that, I think.
I agree. I mean, Eastern Conference Finals. Anything less than that, I think, would be.
Yeah, I think
Bad
underperforming what they did this year would be disappointment.
All right. Well, next I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
There they are.
They're at 50.5. I'm also going over on this. I think they're due for a bounce back year. Basically, everything bad that could happen did happen last year. And Doc Rivers usually does get regular season wins. Giannis also. I mean, I said this last year too, but I feel like he's on his revenge tour, kind of.
I think Dame will be too.
Dame too. He had a lot going on last year. Doc Rivers said he wasn't practicing in the summer last year because he didn't want to get hurt or whatever. I don't know if that's another Doc excuse, but
Very possible.
yeah.
Doc hasn't been practicing coaching over the summer. He didn't
Yeah.
want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing the Chris Finch tape. That really scared me.
right.
That would scare me too.
And they made good additions. Gary Trent, Torian Prince, known Birmingham enthusiast. So
DeLon Wright. I mean, he's not
DeLon
a
Wright's
great
another
shooter,
good
but he's a great addition.
Yeah.
For
they
backup.
they
didn't
badly
even know they
needed
got
perimeter
DeLon.
defense.
Yeah.
He's actually also been a great shooter for most of his career,
That's true.
statistically, and even
He has
last
been a good
season.
shooter.
And for all the reasons you just said, that's an easy over. If you are
Yeah.
going to try to bet right now on an over/under, this is one of the golden give me's. The Milwaukee Bucks, they were only 2 games under. They won 49 games still last year, and this was a season that everybody hated on. And to Deacon's point, everything went wrong. And all the seasons before that, 58, 51, they went over the 2 seasons before
Yeah.
that.
No.
This is a give me line.
Easy
It's
over.
an over.
Easy over.
It might be the easiest over.
I think so. Yeah, Valentin, do you agree with that?
Yeah. Coaching though is gonna really suck adding Darvin Ham to the
Yeah.
spot. Really not gonna be helpful for playoffs.
But we're just talking regular season. That doesn't matter. They'll begin the regular season, then they fall off.
I don't think they'll even fall at the end. They have Giannis and Dave.
They
They're
start
too
mid-season.
good. I just
And
love how
Chris
And
Middleton
Chris Middleton.
sneakily had a good year last year,
He
especially in
always
the
does.
playoffs.
Yeah, that's
Chris
true,
Middleton
especially
is
in the playoffs.
underrated.
Yeah.
He might be top 5 underrated in the league.
Yeah.
He's been kind of off, but I'm excited to watch that civil war of the coaches dragging them down versus the players and the roster trying to carry them up. It's gonna be fun.
I heard you're 4th.
76ers. They probably made the most additions this year. Kind of Phoenix Suns.
They had players.
Yeah.
They had
No
players
choice.
on contract.
Although, so they're over under 52.5. I'm going to go under. And this is not to say I don't like the roster, because I do like the roster. It's just like with the Phoenix Suns last year, like with the Clippers, the Nets previously. Like sometimes these teams just struggle to mesh early on.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes they just never mesh.
What was the record?
Throw in a rookie into that conversation of Jared McCain.
How many wins?
47 last year. The line is at 52.5.
Throw in the injuries of Joel Embiid, of likely
Which-
Paul George,
And
and now you're gonna have even more struggles with meshing.
But I
I'm going
still
under 2.
think they're talented enough. And Nick Nurse is a good coach, so I think
That's true.
they could straddle
And I
together
think,
like 50 wins.
especially this year, they did get Andre Drummond as their backup center.
That's true.
So I think their fall on Embiid will be way less painful than it was
And
last
then
year.
Caleb Martin. I do like Jared McCain a lot. Those are nice additions.
They kept Lowry.
Kept Lowry.
Ricky Council's been a beast.
And especially in summer league, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Reggie Jackson too. But
Got a lot
I don't
of-
know. I don't know. The Sixers just, I feel like, never achieve what they need to achieve.
Well, watch out for playoff noise, but regular season, I don't see them going over this. I just see them as a 50-win team, though.
I kind of don't like them in the playoffs this year anyway. But it's kind of just because they're the Sixers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They kind of just,
But I think give them a year.
yeah. But I agree, under 52.5.
What about you?
Y'all chose over.
Yeah.
I'm going over.
Wow.
I'm playing.
I think Tyrese Maxey with the Paul George connection is gonna be really nice. And they're already right now getting along really well. They've had their podcast together a
Once you
couple times.
podcast, you're bonded for life.
No, that's how we are, right?
Yeah.
And so I think Joel Embiid's gonna play at least half the season, I would think. Right, that's 40.
Yeah.
40
Paul
games.
George might miss around 20 games too.
Exact, but I think Tyrese Maxey and him playing with Paul George and Joel Embiid with at least about 40 games, I would think.
Yeah.
Together. I mean, that's pretty easy, and I think they'll get wins without Joel Embiid too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a good team.
I mean, like if it just goes right, they can win like 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. I mean, they have
It's
the
just
talent.
so unlikely, like you said, the first year. Even if they are that good, and even that's what I said, they could make a lot of playoff noise.
Just like
But even if they are that good, and even if they go Eastern Conference Finals, all this, I don't see them winning 60 regular season games this season.
But it's PGA.
I'd be
you know,
shocked.
PGA, yeah. Gosh, really terrible.
Kobe.
All right,
6th seed, right?
fifth seed now.
Oh, 5th, yeah, 6 years.
So I got the Atlanta Hawks here.
Oh, again.
You just can't let him go. This is
It's
a toxic.
just
The
the
Hawks
game,
and
bro.
the Suns, he has toxic relationships.
No,
with.
it's because of 2K. If
You're
you
going. You're
simulate-
going over on the Hawks this year.
Okay, so their over under is 35.5. It's an easy over, if we're being real.
Yes, it is.
I mean, they beat that over last year, and they
By half. And that was with DeJounte Murray on the team.
Well, yeah, but they're all like Trae Young was out for a long time.
Yeah, he was.
There was a ton of injuries, and this is the kind of roster that Trae Young had his best seasons with.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a ton of defenders, some shooters, some lob threats. No one else to take the ball off his hands except for Bogdanovich. And I'm not guaranteeing that they make it past back to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I do think they find some success in the. I mean, maybe they're not the fifth seed.
I mean, I agree. I agree with the over, but 36 wins is the minimum over. Does not necessarily mean you were successful. That
Doesn't
could
make you
easily, that could
fifth
easily
seed.
be a 12 seed.
A fifth seed in the Eastern Conference, by the way, is absolutely
Well-
absurd. You can put them at 3 last season. That didn't work out.
yeah,
And that was not because of injuries. That just did not work out
I mean,
at all.
I mean, they did get injured, but yeah, it
It
wasn't.
wasn't
going to get
because
the
of
three
this.
seed. But Jalen Johnson, I'm a big believer in him.
I am too.
And he got hurt quite a
Yeah,
bit.
he did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even qualify for most improved, which sucks. He probably could have won it.
Yeah.
Onyeka Kongwu, I'm a big fan of. He played well. He also got injured. Clint Capella, I have no idea what's going on with him.
I think Daniels could be a good backup energy guy.
Or play next to Trey. You never know. Keaton Wallace, my favorite player of all time.
That's true.
Shout out Trae Young. We just saw him last week. He had a lot of
Yeah,
security
it's
around him. It was a little bit scary. So we
Yeah.
Yeah.
saw Trae. What?
In a mall.
Are you kidding?
Locked in.
He had like 3 security.
Friend of the pod, Trey. You should have said hi.
Yeah, we're kind of disappointed. We saw you.
You turned around. Well, yeah.
Valentine, did you go over under on that one?
The win is 36,
35.5.
35.5. I'm going to go over. I think we have to watch out for Trae Young this season. I think he's going to have a
Revengeful.
turn-up season.
He's got a beard now.
Yeah, he does.
He does. He looks like a man for once. I think you're going to have to watch him a lot this season. I think he's going to carry them big time.
He's going to finish third in MVP.
Now we're going to the 6 seed.
Yeah. Okay. 6th seed Cleveland Cavaliers.
Dang, they fall.
And it's not necessarily. They're over under 47.5. I also have them going over. I have them at like 49 wins.
So about the same.
Yeah. And again, I think they have a new coach and they have pretty much the same exact roster. We'll see what happens with Isaac Okoro, who is still a free agent somehow. But I mean, like they're a good team. Like I still think they win a
Pretty
lot
sure
of games.
Crow just re-signed with them a few days ago.
No, did he?
I think so.
Well, I missed that.
Not to mention the elephant in the room. The whole star. They're stars. I don't know if they just got if that got
Well,
solved with JJ
Jared
Bickerstaff
Allen-
leaving.
As we're filming this, just got an extension.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I mean, the Darius Garland question.
But I even heard reports a week or two ago where they said they're planning on keeping all of them,
Which is weird to me.
which is dumb to
But
me.
maybe they're like, all right, the upgrade we're gonna make is that coach.
So
Watch out for the trade deadline.
Maybe Big Steph is gone.
Yeah.
Darius Garland was hurt quite a bit last season. So
So
was
was
Donovan.
Donovan, yeah.
They were always kind of like hurt when the other dude was or
And that's when they
one
actually
was
went on
healthy
hot
while the
streaks.
other dude was hurt, and most of the time they would win like that.
Mobley was hurt.
You going over or under on that, Valentine?
They had a lot of injuries, which I don't think is very usual for them.
Yeah.
I mean, Garland never got hurt that much. Neither
Yeah,
did Mobley or Mitchell.
So you going over or under with that one?
Over.
I'm taking
I
the
think
under.
they're gonna get a
You're taking
rhythm
the
going.
I think it's gonna be a close under. I think it's gonna be 47, 46. It's gonna be right there. But I think they're going under. I mean they were over by half last season.
It's a great line.
It's a great line, it really is. But I'm gonna go close under. Lauren, does that give you?
I'm over. I'm over.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Next, I got the Pacers. I feel bad for putting
Wow.
them at 7.
With the Hawks at 5.
Yeah, that's
okay.
ridiculous. Hawks are a much better and deeper version of the Hawks.
I agree.
Not to mention the Andrew Nemhard leap that we're about to witness.
That
Not
could
to
be.
mention the Tyrese Halliburton bounce back we're about to witness. Not to mention the
full season of
Siakam, the full
Siakam.
season of
No.
Siakam. This is ridiculous, man.
I think you have to be careful with Andrew Nemhard. He took a lot of shots in the playoffs last season and he sucked. I mean, he had games where he went 2 for 12 field goals. I mean, he got his opportunities. It wasn't like he didn't get the ball.
I mean, he had good games. He had bad games.
Despite missing that much, he still shot at 50% in the playoffs.
I don't hate your seeding of them. I'm literally only hating on the fact that somehow the Hawks are over.
Alright, just don't pay attention.
They're an identical
Still-
team with a Pacers deeper and better at practically any position.
I have the over on the Pacers. I'm
Me
just
too. Same.
like we kind of saw this with the Kings, teams that have such high powered offense and like mediocre. I mean, mediocre is kind of generous for the Pacers.
They tuned up a lot
In
in the
the
second
playoffs,
half of the season in
in
the
the-
playoffs.
I mean, but I'm just
Playoffs, they got lucky.
yeah, I'm just not totally sure how much I believe it still.
And you do for the Hawks.
Yes, I guess so.
He has to.
Yeah.
He has to
I'm
until he's
still
right.
going over. I think they have a great team.
So
Just a lot of good
wow.
teams.
Are you going over, Monty?
I didn't think.
The
What-
thing that
what
makes
was the
us
Yeah, I'm at
What-
46 and a half.
what's-
If they go over, that puts them at 47, which is how many they won last year.
Yeah, I have them.
While you think, quick shout out Pacers. 3 seasons ago, they had only won 25 games, made a 10-game improvement to 35, and then the season after, their 12-game improvement from the season before to
They
last
also have a whole
season.
new roster.
So they've just been making big.
Yeah, but still, you still have to improve.
They
with
built
that.
it very well.
Yeah,
Also, like
how you make it sound is like
I think they have some
all
weird-
improved the play, but
fit
The team improved.
in terms of like
Yeah,
they have
so-
Ben
yeah.
That's what
Mathurin.
happened.
They have Ben Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard. Like, what are they going to do there?
Yeah.
Well,
the thing too is Mathurin was out for a good amount last year. Halliburton obviously had his struggles last season.
Right.
He rushed it back from the injury.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and we have.
Getting newly adjusted to Pascal.
I think. They could be the 3 seed.
I just think it's crazy how Deacon thinks the Hawks are going to win at least like 48 games.
Well, we just have to talk
I think
about
I'm
the Hawks. We can't take any of his Hawks
Alright.
seriously.
Number 8. Moving on. I have the Orlando Magic, which breaks my heart. I don't think they improved enough this offseason to really. I mean, they're going to have to rely on internal improvements, which could happen.
Yeah, at least yet.
KCP was a nice addition, but like,
That's the
You're
only
not gonna
thing
make a huge.
That's the
start.
only thing
Right,
they've
yeah.
changed.
I
I mean, they got Corey Joseph.
their over/unders what 40.
KCP is a great role
Better
player
than-
for if you have a superstar,
47 and a half.
and they don't have one.
Yeah. So I have them winning like 45 games, which is a drop off, but I'm still
Like 2
super high
games,
on
so-
that core.
It's only a 2-game drop off.
I just think everyone else got a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with the under though. I mean, like I said, they did win 47, which would have been under last season. And just with, like you said, the depth of the East and everything, I'm not sure they're going to win more games than they did this season.
I disagree very much. They are relying on internal improvements, and what better team to rely on internal improvements than the Orlando Magic with a guy like Paulo Banchero doing what he did in the playoffs, with a guy like Franz having a very much of a down year, which I'm not expecting him to be that down 2 years in a row. And all I'm asking
Internal
for is
improvement
one
is
more
just
win.
kind of hard.
And not to mention, so internal
Improve that
improvements
much.
with KCP now add on to the roster. Does he solve the direct issues? No. Is it another amazing player to have on your team? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm taking the over, guys.
I mean, he helps some of the issues they have, but like he's like the only really positive shooter on that team, maybe.
Yeah. Suggs was pretty
I mean,
good.
Suggs was pretty good, but in the
He has been
playoffs,
consistent.
Consistency is the entire issue, the entire squad. Paolo,
Right.
Franz,
Right.
Suggs.
I say KCP's the only consistent. I mean, even in the playoffs, KCP wasn't that
KCP
great.
I do
That
think it
is-
helps a lot though, veteranship and
I
he has
agree.
experience
And-
with
yeah,
all
championship
these things
medals.
now.
Yeah, I mean, I think
think they're
it was
top
a
five.
nice pickup. I really like pickup. And they could make some noise.
Valentine, did you go over on that?
I'm gonna go over. I think we're forgetting one special guy. He's number 1. Years ago. Jonathan Isaac. I mean, when he
Oh.
played healthy, he was the reason why they won.
I mean, yeah, he was.
His defense, next level.
He arguably should have been in all.
Mention
the
defense,
Central
exactly what I'm talking about. They could be the best defense next season, or top 2, top 3 defense because of how good they were. Guys getting better, and then you had a KCP. The Nuggets are going to feel that loss tremendously on defense. Like, you're so deep. Just they can lean in a defense. Probably only gonna get better on offense too. Even just with KCP and internal improvements, he's
I
gonna be a
think-
damn good team.
I
would
think
not go
Jonathan
under on it.
Isaac will be healthy. I just got a gut feeling about that.
He
I
was
think he'll be
healthy.
a lot more healthy
pretty
this
healthy.
season. Most time it was like mental stuff is why he wouldn't play. So I think he's fine now.
Yeah.
And I think Franz Wagner is gonna learn a lot in this World Cup or Olympics.
yeah.
Because they just know how to play like basketball a lot smarter, I guess. And even USA teams have said that.
I mean, if he could just find his jump shot, I think they'll be fine.
Franz and Mo Magic.
He found it every time he does find it. He almost is like Kevin right now. That the problem is he finds it like once every 5 games. Also, quick shout out before we move on. They have also made some tremendous improvements. 3 seasons ago, 22 wins, won 12 more than next to 34, and then after that, won another 13 more to last season, which brought them to 47. Again, those internal improvements
That
are
means they're
very,
gonna
very
win
real.
14 more this year.
61
Exactly.
on team.
So I'm not going under on this team. That's for damn
They
sure.
actually have another shooter. Didn't they draft De Silva?
Yeah, De Silva, by the way, yeah, exactly.
De
One of my
Silva.
top 5 guys in this draft, or at
I
least he
think
was
the
part of
only
the top
issue
5.
is point guard.
Yeah, that is
It
another.
is a huge
big
issue. They didn't.
issue.
I am not happy with what they did this offseason. I'm still taking the over on this line, guys. It's not. It's kind of a no-brainer for me.
No, yeah, but I think it's going to be a big effect when it comes to playoffs. Not having a point guard who can handle the ball.
Deacon, so what's your next seed?
My next team.
What number is this at now?
Number 9.
9, okay.
It's the Miami Heat.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
embarrassing.
The Hawks are 5.
Guys. All right, just
We're talking about injuries. Let's talk about the Miami fucking Heat.
Okay, they're always injured
Yeah,
every year.
that is
That's
true.
not a good excuse.
And Terry
They're going
Rozier
over, though.
just joined the squad. He tends to be a healthy guy. He
But he
happened
was
to get
injured
hurt.
all last year too. Like, how can we just
He
expect him to be magically?
happened to be hurt.
He
They just
happened to be
drafted
hurt in the
Khalil
past 2
Ware.
seasons.
This team is getting deeper and deeper. I'm gonna praise Miami Heat every year. Also, we talk about every year, guys. They were in the finals 2 years ago. They had this one
Last year they
last year had one bad year. They got swept. They didn't even get swept.
Oh yeah,
They
they won.
took a
They
game
won
with
one
their
game.
2 best players out, or at least
Like
2 of
their
their best
3
3 best players out. Like, guys,
What's
what
the
are we
win?
doing here?
What's the win?
They had
44.
46. The line is 44.5. I'm going over.
This is an easy over.
I'm going over.
They
have
went
the
over
easy
last
under.
year. They went over last year. To your point, where last year they didn't. What did you just say? They weren't healthy last year. They went over, and they didn't have Terry Rozier for the majority of that
Every
year.
team-
Terry
every-
Rozier will be here full.
Every team's also
year.
deeper. It's not like the Heat are the only team that
It's not
improved.
every
Like
team
you
is
said,
deeper.
the Magic, they've improved big time.
They haven't
Have
improved
they
big
not?
time.
They got Jonathan Isaac back from being injured all season for the
Jonathan
past.
Isaac is going to be an All-Star starter on the East, along with
He
Mike
can
Conley on the
consider a
West.
top 5 defender when he's healthy.
Oh my
He will clamp up Jimmy Butler if
know.
he has to.
You're talking. Oh my God! You're comparing Jonathan Isaac to Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier.
I'm saying defensively.
Okay, so the Magic were better than the Heat last year, and I mean,
And their line is also lower.
Yeah.
This is like an easy over. This is ridiculous. They went over. Like, guys, let's do the math. They went over last year. What did you just say? They were completely injured. Facts. They just got a better roster. They added Terry Rozier, who normally
How did they
isn't.
get a better
Who normally isn't injured. Terry Rozier, Khalil Ware.
lose a lot, though. They don't have
Clay
a-
Larson, Josh Christopher.
I don't know if they like actually contribute.
Khalil Ware's going to contribute. 100%.
I like Burka.
I don't know how many minutes, but he'll
think
contribute
number
100%.
pick up too.
Either way, we're going with the same roster, if not a better roster. There will likely be at least someone healthy. Terry Rozier full year, and the line is lower. Just for them to win the same amount of games, which they should win more games pretty damn easily. But you can just say if they win even 1 game less, you're still going over. This is insane to go under on this line.
I'm still going under.
All right.
So next 10 seed.
I'm going under.
I figured.
Under
I
you?
mean,
I
the
went
Heat,
over.
Huh? Yeah,
Over.
easy.
the Heat
Next one.
are known to suck in regular season. They
But yet
show out in
overperform every
playoffs.
year.
And yet,
Am I wrong?
All
They
right,
always
here,
suck.
fun-
They were 8 seed and they
Fun
made
fact.
But they
Okay,
still get over.
Fun fact. They've hit over every single season except for 2 seasons ago, actually, when they went to the championship. But they went over the year before, and they went over last year. And actually, the year before, like the finals year, they actually went over by
Well, that was never the
by
first
8
year.
games. So like this whole narrative of they
don't
always
have Kyle
suck.
Lowry
Yeah,
no
they
more.
do underperform for how good they are. But this line is too fucking easy of a line, especially for how the kind of guys they have on their roster.
Harry
He made it.
Rozier is not a playmaker like Kyle Lowry was.
All right, let's go to
Kyle Lowry
let's
was
go to the 10 seed.
Huge for them.
Let's go to the 10 seed.
10 seed, I got the Toronto Raptors. Look, they made some, like, a lot of people were upset with the money moves they made, paying Scotty Barnes.
Are you hitting the over line then? You have to.
What?
So you're going over for sure.
Oh, for sure. On the Raptors.
Huh.
What's
30 and a half.
All right, let's hear this.
Look, I really like Darko. I mean, we haven't really been able to see him coach at a high level just because his team sucked. But last year, when Quickly, Barrett, and Scotty all played, they were a pretty decent team.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they got Jakob Poeltl back there. They got Grady Dick coming into his second year. I like the team.
Yeah.
And 30 and a half seems pretty low to me, especially because there's going to be some bad
This
teams.
is going to be 6 games higher than, by the way, this is going to be 6 more wins than they got last season,
Yeah, I think
which is
that's
very
easy.
interesting.
I mean, they tanked. They tried to tank last year. And I think if they could make the play-in, they'll go for it.
I mean, who did they draft?
They draft-
Kobe Walter.
Did Walter and
But
then
if he gets minutes, I'm taking the under on
Then
this.
then they picked up Shed too,
It's
or they
not-
drafted him really late. One of the two.
I think it was
I don't remember.
second round pick.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy over.
Yeah. I mean, and like you
if
got the
you
Wizards,
watch-
Pistons.
I like that line in
Nets.
terms of it's a good line.
I
I'm
agree.
not sure. I went under, but I do think it'll be pretty close.
I mean,
Dude,
if
what do you guys
watch-
said about Miami?
If you
Heat?
watched Emmanuel Quickly and
Oh,
RJ
Emmanuel
Barrett play,
Quickly
they
is-
were top tier.
Like,
That's
Emmanuel
the best
Barrett
of their
can be
career.
exposed.
RJ Barrett's
easily.
balling out right now in the freaking Olympics.
Actually, I love here I don't have anything wrong against an over line at all.
No,
I love Quickly. I think he's taking a lead. The Scotty Barnes Quickly duo could be one that could be scary in a few seasons, and this could be the first season of that developing. But again, even if they improve by 5 wins, it's still under on this line. I'm gonna take the under just because with the roster, with how young they are, even though I like what they have going, and with some vulnerabilities to what you had just said about Miami Heat, everybody else is better. There's an arms race in the East and the West.
Well, I
Don't
think
get
a
it
lot of people
twisted.
are worse too.
Don't get it twisted. I think these guys are
Like the
going to
Hawks.
struggle against. They might struggle to close out a lot of games, and I'm just gonna take the under just because there's so many teams that are gonna be hunting wins all season long.
Yeah,
It's gonna be an interesting.
like I said, I'm
have to
taking the under, but I can't say I'd be necessarily surprised if they do go over. Like I said, I do actually like the line. I do think it's a very interesting line. Like you said, they could. I mean, honestly, they could very much get 38 wins if they're Barrett, Barnes, Quickly, all Pirtle, Dick all mesh together really well. They could be a nice 38. They could be one of those 13 improvement teams that you were mentioning earlier, like the Magic have been and the Pacers have been.
Right.
But I'm gonna take the under just because of the competition.
Another over that I'm bullish on is the Charlotte Hornets. Which is tricky. It's a
What's
tricky
going on
over
that
just
again?
because
Are you going over?
I'm going over.
I'm actually going under.
Are you serious? Okay. Well, the over under is 29 and a half.
I was about to say 39 here.
No, yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, LaMelo's injured a lot, but even without LaMelo last year, they put together some wins. And Brandon Miller.
Trey Mann and Mičić, man.
Yeah, exactly. Man.
Miles
And-
Bridges being fully back.
Yeah, Grant Williams. I mean, Miles Bridges was. I mean, as much as he's controversial, he was good at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And Brandon Miller, he's only going to get better. I mean, you could argue he was the second best. Well, yeah, you could kind of argue he's the second best rookie last year.
Yeah.
And then Trey Mann. They drafted Salon. We'll see how much he contributes. And then if LaMelo plays like 60 games, they're easily.
I mean, when LaMelo plays, the Hornets are actually a really good team.
Oh,
well, they're like a 500.
They're
So-
top 5 offense when he plays pretty
What-
much.
When I was watching LaMelo Ball highlights and just kind of Hornets highlights, they were beating the Celtics with Kristaps, their full roster healthy. They beat them in overtime. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and they won the championship, the Celtics.
Yeah.
So the
I mean,
Hornets
LaMelo Ball does
would have been champions if LaMelo played.
exactly.
Basically.
Bingo.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go over. I think it's pretty easy.
I really hate these lines, man, because I
Yeah,
like
this
the
one's
Hornets.
fun.
I want to go over, but something tells me
I
that
think
it's
we
gonna be
know.
another just not year for them.
We know
I was
Miles
high on them
Bridges
going into
is
last year.
capable of, and having Brandon Miller, what we've seen.
But Miles Bridges isn't particularly healthy. LaMelo Ball isn't particularly healthy at all. Then they quickly get into a bunch of young guys that don't have any experience. Even Mark Williams isn't particularly healthy. And the roster very, very quickly dwindles away after that.
That's their big.
Well,
They
yeah,
actually pulled out
Poku.
wins.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think
I'm taking the
I
under.
don't think he's on the team anymore.
Poor Poku.
They
They have
under,
Trey Manning.
I'm praying for an over.
I'm praying for the over,
I'm taking
taking
the
the
under.
under. Yeah.
I think it's really easy for me to take the Raptors and Hornets over just because the rest of the teams I think are like almost guaranteed unders.
Yeah.
My 12 is the Chicago Bulls.
Wow, that's crazy.
And this is the one team I think could be like, what the heck? They just won 40 games. But I do expect them to go under. I mean, they kind of have a massive roster. Zach LaVine
Definitely have a mess.
is still on the team for some reason.
Probably
Vucevic
will
is
be
still on the
traded.
team. I would assume
I could see Zach and
Kobe
DeMar both
White,
be
Josh
traded.
Giddey all fighting for the backcourt
Or,
spots.
yeah, I keep forgetting he got traded. That's such like a weird.
They paid Patrick Williams almost $100 million. Montas Buzelis, good, nice pick.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if he's going to play, like if he's going to start.
And even if he does, he's so raw. They're
Yeah.
gonna drop a lot of wins.
And besides, they have a lot of injury-prone players. Pat Will, Zach LaVine,
Not to mention the biggest problem, they still have their coach.
Billy Donovan.
Billy Donovan needs to be out of there for them to actually get on track to somewhere positive.
I mean, Zach LaVine has proven that when he's like the only guy, he's main star guy, they're really
Yeah,
good.
he's a good player, man. But
Thing was, that was about 6 years ago, and he's had like 5 injuries in between. So he's nothing like that. And then we'll see what Lonzo Ball does. And see if he
Lonzo Ball, I didn't
returns.
mention him.
Yeah.
Kobe White had a great season. I hope he becomes
Just
a star player.
Yeah.
But like, that's another thing. Like, are those guys going to improve? Just because like
Well, I
there's
think-
so much stuff going on around them.
I think this is gonna. I'm taking the under 2 because I think it's gonna be a year where they kind of figure out what young guys they want to do, how they're gonna play. They got to just kind of figure out how to mesh, and so I'm gonna go under the 30.5 line. It's gonna be a weird season for them. It's gonna be a rough season as a Bulls fan.
I hate this is a tough line. I'm just gonna go
It
under
is.
again. Arms race, but they're like they could be anywhere really.
Yeah.
A big reason again is
They have
coaching
talent.
too. It is a coaching. It's a new coach.
Yeah.
Might.
Josh,
It's a low line. We're like they've been around 40
It
win
is a
team.
low line. That's what I'm.
So it's
scared
a
about.
low line for a team as talented as they are.
if Josh Giddey's hitting step back threes like he is in the Olympics right now, they
You
could win
think
50.
Under over.
Under.
Under. All right.
Think
Everyone
we're all
took
together
under.
on
Interesting.
My 13, I got the Wizards, which may be
13.
high. Yeah. I mean,
You said all these teams are gonna drop a lot of wins, and you have the Wizards at
well, to
13.
be fair, they're over under 22 and a half, and I have them under.
Interesting.
I just think the
Wow.
bottom 3 teams are garbage.
Really bottom feeders.
Yeah. But I did like their offseason. I really like Bub Carrington.
Yeah, they're under. I just thought about who they drafted, Alex Sarr.
It's a rebuild
Sucks.
season. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Even if Sark pans out in the end, this is gonna be a
I mean,
tough season. They lost Tyus Jones, their reliable playmaker. Now they're Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, and Bub Carrington, who I also really like. His
They
star
do also
potential.
have Keyshawn
We
George.
talked about the draft, and he's just so raw. And I don't know if I love him learning from Poole and Kuzma. George again, super
I
raw
just
as
don't
well.
like him.
Yeah.
Learning
It's gonna
from
be a
the
rough season.
Wizards. The coach sucks.
I think it's
Johnny Davis was a great guard in college. He was pretty good in summer league this year, but he's probably not going to get minutes.
I think it's just too raw of a team to get that many wins.
Well, yeah. But they do have like guys like Kuzma and Valanciunas.
Yeah.
Who are
I'm just worried about the culture. I'm worried about the culture in Washington. That's
Yeah,
what I'm worried
true
about.
too. They don't really
Especially with
have-
the culture led by a team led by Kuzma and Poole. That worries me. That worries me for those rookies too.
What
a
if Jordan
lot.
Poole just has a backpack? Yep.
A backpack?
Yeah,
might have a backpack. I'm sure he
He's
owns
a bomb.
He's going to be a 2K my career guy.
Yeah, I'm taking the under 2 though.
Alright.
And then next I got the Pistons, 24.5. I'm also going under. They have a terrible fitting roster. I didn't love their offseason. They did get shooting. They paid Tobias Harris a lot of money.
Who did they draft?
Ron Holland,
Ron
known shooter. Ron
Holland.
Holland. He might have been the worst shooter in the draft. In terms of like a wing.
They got Clintman too though.
I did like.
I like Clintman.
Yeah.
I'm taking the under 2, but I do think they are gonna win or be above the Wizards in standings. I mean, obviously, I understand it's all kind of, but I think they have a little more just experience to get more wins, but it's all kind of nitpicky.
They haven't been over this record in the last 3 seasons. They're not going over this season.
No.
Maybe this is the year they get Cooper Flag. Finally get the number 1 pick. Or I guess they got Cade as well. But since then it's been 5th overall picks. But last, I don't know if you have to talk about the Nets, 19.5.
Oh, really? You think they're last?
I think they're going under. Look, I think they're going to trade Cam Johnson and or Dorian Finney-Smith. I think it's going to be the Cam Thomas show, for better or for worse.
Exactly.
Jordy Fernandez, who's actually the Canadians head coach right now. It's their new head coach. I don't know what he's going to look like. I don't know. I think if this screams under, I think they could be 15-win team. But Cam Thomas is going to win them a couple games.
Well, Cam Johnson can help him out.
Cam Johnson
And-
too, bro.
Another guy, Noah Clowney, that really
Nick
looked
the
good.
Claxton guy.
Yeah, they still have Claxton. They got Bojan.
I think he probably gets dealt as well.
He could.
Or he just. Who did they draft? They didn't have a pick, right?
I don't have a great reason why, but I'm actually gonna go over. I think they are a 20-win team.
I think they
really all bring out excellent points.
I think they have enough firepower to pull out 20, but it'll be close.
As
They
constructed.
did get Killian Hayes, so that's kind of OP.
Oh, okay. So I might go under 15. No,
He's
but,
going under the line.
I mean, if the roster stays as constructed, I think they probably go over. I just don't. I mean, I could probably even see Claxton getting traded, like at the deadline.
They just signed him.
I know, but I could. I mean, he's going to have a ton of value.
Yeah.
They're rebuilding.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's our Eastern recap. Standing predictions, over unders. Let us know what y'all's thoughts are on each team, the whole East. With that though, Floater Gang out. Make sure to subscribe.